Hello, I'm Sister Joanne Iannotti, and I'm here at Wisdom House, and I work at Wisdom House as Art and Spirituality Coordinator. The word portals, what do you think about when I say that word? Well, I think about moving from the known to the unknown, moving from one side to another. Portals are wonderful vehicles that bring us into new life. And in the ancient world, cities had archways and portals through which their citizens and their visitors would pass through to enter into the life of the city. Well, that whole mystery of portals is what is now on exhibit and symbolized in the exhibit that we have now at the Marie-Louise Trichet Art Gallery at Wisdom House. The title of the exhibit is simply Portals, and it shows us the works of Mary Lou and Robert Alberetti, who will share with you now what their artwork has created and what they have found through their own experience of the mystery of portals.
My work with architectural reliefs began in the 80s, the late 80s in Italy. I was interested in the architecture and looking for a new format for the color reliefs that I had been doing, and I decided to study the architecture and work with the forms that I found and try to capture a sense of the forms and a sense of the place and time in that particular location. So I began to do a lot of photography and sketches, watercolors. Because I couldn't work in clay and have a studio in Italy, I would bring all of my research back home with me, and then I would begin to start to build the pieces. This is an earlier piece. It's based on Gothic. It's not totally accurate in terms of the details because I'm more interested in getting a sense of the location and a sense of the architecture rather than having a copy of a particular place or particular detail. So this is Gothic and trying to capture a sense of the old walls and the frescoes that are behind some of the walls or even on the outside of some of the buildings in Italy. After using the architectural images from Italy, I decided to expand, and we took several trips. One time we spent a few weeks in Turkey where there's a great deal of wonderful archaeological buildings, pieces, a lot of Roman influences, very exciting and actually more accessible than in Italy because you could actually walk around and touch these pieces. My interests began in Sicily and southern Spain, and we had another research grant. I had another research grant to go to southern Spain and investigate the Moorish influences in architecture and the fusion, the combination of layers of Roman to Moorish influences. And this piece has a sense of the Moorish and the layers and the ages, which I'm trying to show with all the texture. These are not intended to be accurate representations of the architectural details, but to give a sense of it. And in this one, for example, it's more like a composite, where I've taken several images and juxtaposed them together and worked with both the images of the architecture and the colors of the time and place where I've tried to capture that sense. I also would like to have the viewer to wonder about what goes on during this time period or what went on, and to visually take themselves through the portals and into the possibilities of what might have been happening in the past in some of these images. What inspires me is being there, trying to capture a sense of the time, the place, and the agelessness, and I try to think about the people who actually walked through these portals and the centuries that have been involved and what these buildings have seen, what kind of a story they could tell. Hopefully I've tried to tell a little bit of that story in my own work, through my own work.
Light can also be a draw, that it can draw you into a situation. And how many times have I, in Italy and in Spain and Turkey and other places that we've been so struck by the quality of light. In Ireland, the quality of light there was amazing. And so all of this, I mean, that's what, color is really one of my real passions to be involved with, and the way color can change and the way color can affect the emotions and so forth. But light is another, and space. So I'm dealing with some of the more formal elements, trying to get an emotional content rather than a literal content. I mean, I can paint barns, I can do landscapes that are very, very realistic, and I appreciate that, and I love people who are very good at it, but I don't work that way. I work more abstractly, so that this painting, which is the only true painting or real painting in the show compared to the collages and the mixed media pieces that I have here. Here I was just dealing with forms, dealing with a variety of colors that would enhance that idea or project that idea of light, a light passage, using light as a passageway into whatever sense the viewer might bring to the painting. In Italian Journey, this was the original for a work on paper, which is reproduced for the flyer for this particular show. And in this Italian Journey, I was using a variety of found papers and assisted by invented paper or painted paper that I did myself, and then gluing and painting all of this together. The Italian Journey comes across when you get up close to it, because there are portions of maps of Italy, there are stamps of Italy that I've used in there, and I even went so far as to use a portico right over here. But I didn't want it to be blatant, so I toned it down so that it would fit into the rest of the work. In this one, the arches, it's a little bit more evident that I'm playing with the formal element of a curve, arch and so forth. And you can't be in these foreign countries without going through these fantastic arches. One of the things that I really became interested in, especially in the newer works, was the idea of darkness or shadow. So this particular small mixed media collage piece is entitled Shadows, because like light, shadows can draw us into a situation, and they're really mysterious. A very good friend of ours and a mentor died last year. He left a tremendous body of poetry, and I was fortunate enough to obtain some of his drafts of his poetry. So I was able to incorporate some of the words that were written in these draft forms. I loved his penmanship. I thought, and he wasn't conscious of doing this, it was just like haphazard writings, but I found them visually fascinating. So, and I wanted to incorporate them into the portals, because words can also be a way of removing yourself from reality and going into another realm. So in a sense, poetry, literature, this also can be a portal.
You've just met Mary Lou and Robert Alberetti, artists from New Fairfield, Connecticut, who have shared with you their works that have been inspired by the theme of portals. Thousands of people pass through the portals of Wisdom House each year to either come to a program, to visit our chapel, to pray on our grounds, to pray in our peace garden. I'd like to welcome you to come and be a part of all of those people who do come. You're most welcome to come to Wisdom House to experience the peace here that will help you grow as a person and bring you greater peace in your own life. Thank you.